Coast FM 963. You're on Raw and More. Great tunes, great vibes, and great guys. Angus Hamel with you as always between 7 and 9 p.m. on a Monday evening, the 3rd of March 2025. And like I said at the start of Raw this evening, as the Irish like to say, it's the turd of the turd. And joining me in the studio tonight, as always, from now on, a couple of guys that really appreciated that joke. Stephen Wheatley, how are you going today, Stefan?
To be sure, Angus, to be sure, I am doing very good, my friend. Great to be with you, lads, again on this wonderful Monday evening. Happy first week of autumn.
Absolutely. Absolutely great to see you. I can see you counting down to St. Patrick's Day. It's over in a fortnight over there. And opposite me right now, a guy that's cringing at our Irish accents, Brandon Macmillan. How are you going, Brando?
I'm doing good. I was about to say 2020 raw out of force of habit because that's what we did last year.
I know, 5 does not have the same ring to it, does it? I wish it could have been 2020 raw forever, but what can you do? Time goes on, life goes on, you got to get over it. How was your day today, Steve?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, not too bad. Been a pretty good day. Good to have a nice cool day after some of those hot days over the last couple of days over the weekend. So nice to have a bit of a change with also some rain on the way.
It's been a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't it? It was sunny for a little bit and then it started to get a little cloudy and then literally this afternoon it just started raining.
Is it just me or do we tend to get a bit kind of like I was saying this to a friend of mine over the weekend, is it just me or do we tend to get a bit of the Melburnian weather lately?
Yeah, the good old 4 seasons in one day. That's just the autumn vibe. But I remember on Saturday it was still bloody hot. It was like mid-30s on Saturday. And I remember saying to myself, hey, can the weather just chill out a bit? Like, summer was so yesterday. But speaking of chilling out, you guys are with me chilling for the next couple of hours. We're going to be gas bagging. We're going to be quizzing. We're going to be having a great time and enjoying some great tunes with each other. I'm going gaga at the prospect of being on radio with you boys. So what better way to well and truly start things off then with a bit of Radio Gaga. The weekend? No, it's Monday. Coast FM 963. You're on Raw and More. Angus Hamel, Stephen Wheatley and Brandon Macmillan with you. Great tunes, great vibes, great guys. That right there was The Weeknd with his 2019 hit single Blinding Lights, which that song is actually celebrating a milestone this year. Yeah, 5 years since Nathan Cleary got in trouble for lip syncing it at a girl's place. So,
ooh. Yeah,
I know, right? The Panthers halfback, and I got to say, since then they've made 5 straight grand finals, won 4 in a row. This might seem a bit crazy, but surely it's not a coincidence, Steve, that he got in trouble, probably got a hiding from his dad, the coach, and then they've made every grand final since.
Well, I think, to be fair, I mean, he probably did, Ivan probably did sit down and have a good chat with him and, tell him what's what. But, I think that's a bit of a fair, the song's 5 years old, as you said, and he's now won Penrith 5 premierships. And in the modern day age of rugby league, everything now with salary caps and whatnot, that's pretty good. So I think that's probably, I think that's probably a fairly good bounce back in my opinion.
Gee, how many premierships can make it get upgraded from pretty good to great or awesome or fantastic or something like that?
That'll be forever a mystery.
We'll never know. When they get there, Steve will tell us, I'm sure. But that song also mentions Sin City, which, as we all know, is Las Vegas. And Rugby League had their big Vegas round yesterday. Boys, did you catch any of it? I got the chance to see most of it at home with the fam.
I did. I was able to watch most of the games. I thought some of the games I would have liked to have been a bit closer. I'm kind of a bit of the shame the Wars didn't get up. I know they would have had a bit of a journey. I thought they were going to win too.
Yeah. Oh, no. We were all behind the Wars. Hey, Brandon, did you tip them straight off the bat?
Oh, yeah. When Steve asked who do you think's going to win, I thought, Penrith, bit of a bold choice, I know.
Oh, wow.
I think there was a lot of people taking
and the Warriors. So
I think there was a lot of people taking Penrith. I don't think a lot of people outside of Cronulla were not taking Penrith. So
for sure. And how about the thrilling match between the Gillaroos and the English Lionesses? Like, that was nail-biting stuff.
They were so close to also breaking the record with that too for the highest scoring game. So they were the record is they have had for the biggest margin in a World Cup the record was 92. So they were 2 points off.
Oh, no.
So close.
I know. I reckon if there was another 10 minutes left, guys, they could have gotten the century.
Well, it was a great game to break out the cricket analogies. They were none for 90 going towards the end, and then they had a bit of a top order collapse. It ended up being 4 for 90 when the English Lionesses, they scored a try right at the end, literally 30 seconds before full time, which is a real shame because they actually had an agreement before the game that the last try won. So the Lionesses actually beat us. So that's really unfortunate.
I mean, the scoreboard doesn't show it, but yeah, there's always next year.
Yeah, we can always score 100 against England next year.
Well, you're the cricket expert, mate. I'd say none for 90 for 4 is a pretty good innings, isn't it?
Yeah, not bad for maybe a T20. I mean, that's pretty defendable, and I reckon the way the English girls were bowling, in quotation marks, they wouldn't really have the chance of chasing that down, so I'll take the moral victory any day of the week. Time for us to take a quick break, but coming up, Brando, we are going to be hearing your good vibe of the night, and it's got a bit of a travel story attached to it. Crazy stuff. That's coming up right after this. Coast FM 963, you're on Raw and More. Angus Hamill, Steve Wheatley and Brando Macmillan with you. That tune right there was American singer-songwriter Role Model with a hit single from his album Kansas Anymore, released last year. It's called Look at That Woman. And look at that woman listening into us right now, I'm sure. Station manager Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Our work mum listening into her sons. I bet you're proud of us all on the air together. Hey, Sarah. Raw and More on the website's finally coming to fruition in real life. And how's this for something impressive, by the way? Well, we've got you. It's time for a segment that Brando loves, and me especially too. It's called Angus' Brando's Good Vibe of the Night. I really need to update those intros.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Thank you. I'll just dub it every time. Brando's Good Vibe of the Night, the segment where Brando dives into his own personal playlist, pulls out a song that he thinks has immaculate vibes, slaps it out there on the Coast of M airwaves, and hope that you, yes you, Mama Sarah, listening in right now, enjoys it as much as he does. Now, Brando, I was shocked when you came to me with this tune before we went on air tonight. You travelled somewhere?
Yeah, who would have thought, right? Me leaving the coast.
That's insane.
Yeah, this is our Raw presenter who doesn't like travelling outside of the Central Coast.
Hey, I mean, it doesn't get more Coast FM community than not wanting to travel outside of the Central Coast. But you did travel for once, and that trip has inspired your pick for the Good Vibe of the Night. So.
Yes, because a little bit of context. On Saturday, my brother and 2 friends, we just went to up at Macarthur because that's where our grandparents used to live before they moved to the South Coast. And after we went to see the old house and everything, we went to the arcade, mini golf, and during the mini golf, each court had a separate ladder, and it was up to us to make a word out of those letters. And whoever got the word out of it right gets to be part of this raffle and wins this big prize. And Jackson, who was part of the crew, he got the word right, so now he's in the raffle. And I just heard a little earlier during the group chat that he actually won the raffle, and he is currently travelling.
Well, he's going down now.
Yeah. So my song for Jacko is 500 Miles by the Proclaimers.
Well, that's perfect because he's got quite a bit of a road trip ahead of him. So
all the way to Macarthur.
Of all places, eh, Steve?
I hope it was a good prize.
It better be. Well, here's some great road tripping music for Brando's Good Vibe of the Night. Let's proclaim the hell out of this.
When I wake up.
Coast FM 963, we had a bit of studio karaoke going on right there on Raw and More. Angus Hamill, Steve Wheatley and Brandon Macmillan with you. That right there was Brando's pick for the Good Vibe of the Night, which was, of course...
500 Miles.
By...
The Proclaimers.
I proclaim you made a great choice there, laddie.
Yeah, thank you.
And who was that dedicated to again?
Jackson. I just misread the group chat, actually, guys. It's getting mailed to him. I thought he actually travelled. My bad.
Well, shout out to the postie driver that's probably shipping his prize to him right now. But great success on the weekend to win that prize and drive 500 miles as well. I couldn't help but think when that song was playing, you know how last week we talked briefly about how there was a trend in the mid 2000s where a lot of kind of stores that got their ads on telly reworked classic hits into like their own jingles. Like The Good Guys was what we talked about, which interpolated Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. I don't know if anyone remembers, but 500 Miles was made into Retrovision. And yes, I got to say, I did know the Retrovision version before the Proclaimers. Don't blame me. Blame the time period I grew up in. What other kind of ad jingles stick out to you guys from that period?
Well, I was kind of talking to a friend of mine about exactly this on the weekend, Angus, and there's so many, because so many of these jingles from actual original song artists just ring so true. Like, I think probably one that sticks out to me that I was talking to them about over the weekend. Now, I can't unfortunately remember the name of the artist or whatever, but the song basically had the jingle of they call me very mellow, and I just always remember that song as being the jingle for the Caramello Koala ad, where just Caramello Koala is just on a train, just going through the jungle, just going, they call me Caramello Koala.
Hey, speaking of Cadbury, there was another Beach Boys reworking.
I was going to bring that up.
Yes, there was.
What was that one, Brando?
It was like, wouldn't it be nice if we were older? But in the Cadbury one you were mentioning is, wouldn't it be nice if the world was Cadbury?
Yeah, I love that. And one that sticks in my mind that's still going to air even on our station to this day is 1300-655-506.
And a little personal bias, but the King Cumber Plus jingle was pretty good as well. Love the singers on them.
For context, everyone, Brando wrote that. And
of course it would be his favourite.
A lot of the jingles you actually hear on Coast FM were written by Brando as well. So
not to brag or anything.
In case his voice is familiar to you, that might be where you've heard it. But speaking of originals versus remakes, here's another segment.
Two songs, they sound exactly alike. Yes, these are two songs, and they sound alike.
I didn't write this shit.
Okay, so Brando didn't write this one. I wrote it. Well, I kind of wrote it. I wrote the words, but the music came from Phil Collins originally. But this is Soundalikes, the segment where I give you two songs where one samples the other, but it's up to these two fine gentlemen in the studio with me right now to guess whether or not the sample was done in a legal way or if it was a complete rip-off that led to big, big trouble. Now, last week we heard from Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie, which was sampled illegally by Vanilla Ice. Both these guys, they are industry professionals. They were right on the ball. They knew straight off the bat that it was an illegal sample. So I thought I would kind of do something that's kind of a little bit similar. Maybe it might be the same answer. Maybe it might not be. But these guys, it's up to you once again, boys, to figure out whether this sample is legal or illegal. As always, we're starting off with the original of the two tracks. Here's a bit of Rick James with Super Freak. Stop. Hamel time. Thanks, Steve, for that.
You're welcome.
I got to say that was not original. It was Steve, but I had to roll with it because it's my name. Coast of M963. You're on Raw and More with Angus Hamill, Steve Wheatley, Brando, Macmillan. We're in the midst of a segment right now called Soundalikes, where I give these two boys a couple of songs where one was an original, one was sampled. But the question they have to answer is, was the sample done legally or was it a blatant bad rip-off? Now, you guys have heard the two songs, Super Freak at the top there by Rick James and You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer. The question is, was MC Hammer's sample done in the right way or the wrong way?
Steve, what do you think?
I had a feeling Brando would jump at that opportunity.
So I'm guessing you're wanting me to go first again. I gave you the opportunity right there to go first, but if you insist, all right. So, well, I'm actually feeling very confident about this round, and I actually think that actually MC Hammer's version of that song was actually the illegal version, and Rick James, his version is actually the right version.
Yes, yeah, well, Rick James is the original, there's no doubt about that, but MC Hammer sampled it. You're saying he ripped him off. It was an illegal sample.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Alrighty, what do you reckon, Brando? You going to go with Steve or go against the grain?
You know what? I'm pretty confident that it's illegal, but just to make things interesting, I'm going to say it's legal.
All right, Mr. Songwriter himself. Well, I can reveal some shocking news. One of you is correct.
You would have thought, right?
And the person who is correct is Steve. Yes, it was.
Yay.
It was an illegal sample. You know what, Brando? I'll give it to you. You knew it was illegal. You just wanted to add some spice to that. The sample that MC Hammer used for Super Freak, which forms the basis of the song, led Rick James, who was uncredited for his usage of it, and the other performers on the original record, including the Temptations, who provide the vocal riff. They all got together to file a lawsuit for copyright infringement against MC Hammer. It was then settled out of court, which in a way that MC Hammer added Rick James as one of the songwriters of the song, which has made him millions of dollars in royalties since the mid-90s. Rick James has said that this one song, has made him more royalties than his entire solo catalogue combined. So it pays to have your music ripped off. Maybe it'll happen to you one day, Brando, with Honey Mustard.
And they say copyright songs are a bad thing, right?
A new album coming soon.
Hell yeah, can't wait for that. Well, one other thing I can't wait for is coming up right after this. We're going to be hearing my pick for the good vibe of the night. But first, a word from our station sponsor. Who doesn't want a girl like Lucy? I'm assuming they're talking about Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Coast FM 963, you're on Raw and More. Angus Hamel, Steve Wheatley, Brandon Macmillan with you. We're in the midst of my good vibe of the night. Those were a couple of fantastic Aussie indie rock tracks that charted very well in the Hottest 100 of 2024. At the top, we heard from Northern Beaches rockers, the Ryans, with Passion Fruit, the opening track from their latest EP. Can't wait to see those guys perform live down at Erina in a couple of weeks' time. We also heard from Pacific Avenue and Lucy. That one goes out to James O'Brien's mum, whose name is Lucy. I can't believe that she got a song written about her. Do you guys have any Lucys in your life that you want to give a shout out to?
I don't, but I do know a couple of Lucys, but I don't know too many. But shout out to any Lucys that are listening to the show tonight.
Oh, that's really sweet, Steve. How about you, Brando? Have you met a Lucy?
I'm convinced that there's no one named Lucy. Never met one in my life.
Oh. Not even one in the Sky with Diamonds? Now, I've conjured up a little bit of a mini sort of question for you guys. Now, both of those tracks we've established charted on the Hottest 100 last year, but which one do you think charted higher, Lucy or Passion Fruit?
Well, I think probably Brandon's probably going to do really well at this quiz, because I actually don't know.
One thing I love so much about giving you guys quizzes is when you keep passing off the answering duties to each other. Oh, Steve will go first. Oh, Brando will go first. Well, don't jump in all at once. What do you think, Brando, as the designated music expert?
All right. I'm pretty confident with my answers here, which I'll give them to you now. After I hear from Steve.
Of course. Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I think Girl Like Lucy is the most popular out of the two.
That's a really solid guess, because it is really catchy, but it was Passion Fruit that charted higher, and it was 61, and Lucy was 76, which is crazy. You'd think both of them would be higher. Should have been higher. Well, a couple of songs that are pretty high on the chart we're about to be hearing as we cross over well and truly the 8 o'clock threshold. Brando, before we came on air tonight, I told you to give me a random year between 94 and 2024. What year did you pick?
Stephen gave me a heaps for doing this, but I picked 1995.
Hey, that's all right. I don't know why he gave you heaps. He should be an advantage, because this was a year where we weren't alive, but Steve was. So,
well, I just thought it was a very just simple answer that didn't a whole lot of thought didn't go into it. You said pick a year between 1994 and 2024, and he's just gone, yeah, I'll just pick the very next year.
Well, I think he's done a great job at picking it. 30 years ago, a milestone year. We're about to hear 3 songs from that year's Hottest 100 that all charted in the top 10, of that year's chart. It's up to these guys when we come back to try and tell you which charted the highest. Without further ado, here is song number 1. The Boys. Coast of M963, you're on the second hour of Raw and More. Angus Hamel, Stephen Wheatley and Brandon Macmillan with you. Great times, great songs, great vibes, and great guys, more importantly.
Don't worry, we won't be singing. He was joking.
Yeah, they were singing. I can confirm they were singing off air. there, and
off key.
And off key. I love that. Imagine if you guys could actually sing. You'd be unstoppable.
I know. We actually might get people at a Settlers on a Friday night that actually might want to sing with us.
Well, actually, there you go. If you want to hear Steve sing, head down to Settlers on a Friday. He'll bust out a couple of tunes just for you, and I will as well, just for good measure. But speaking of tunes, we just heard 3 tunes that charted in the top 10 of the Hottest 100 of 1995. It's up to my brethren beside me right now to tell me, and you by association, which of those 3 songs charted the highest on the list.
Wonderwall number 1.
Well, Brando, you just removed all the tension. Hang on, let's get Steve's guess as well while we're here.
No. He I've gone first the last 2 weeks. I think it's due for him to go first.
Well, he went first, so what's your guess?
Okay. This is really putting a lot of pressure. No, I'm joking. Okay, so no, look, I actually believe for the top, if my memory serves me correctly, the number 1 for 1995, and this again will show my age extremely, but I do believe it was Gangsta's Paradise was the number 1 hit, if I'm correct.
Oh, well, I had a feeling it would be a 2-horse race. The songs in question were Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio, Lump by the Presidents of the United States of America, and Wonderwall there by Oasis. I can confirm one of you is correct, and that song did chart at number 1. The winner is Brando. Yes, that's right. Wonderwall by Oasis was the number 1 song of 1995, followed closely by Gangsta's Paradise. That came in at number 3, and then Lump by the Donald Trumps, I guess you could say, came in at number 10. So
by The Offspring, by the way, that song was by Angus.
The Presidents of the United States of America.
Oh, sorry. It's a very, very similar similarity.
Oh, quite simply, yeah. Very similar style. It's kind of like a grungy kind of, I guess you would call it douche rock, I guess.
I guess that's probably a very accurate analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, but one artist that's definitely not giving us douche rock is the one in this segment.
And now it's time for The Local List. Brought to you by Home Brewed.
That's right, it's the segment brought to you by the boys that used to occupy this very time slot, Cameron Smith and Eamon Snow with Homebrewed. They send through a brand new release by an awesome Central Coast-based or born artist every single week, and I get to premiere it on the airways for you. Tonight's pick comes to us from Eamon Snow. Now, don't be fooled by the all-caps title of this brand new song by Ali George. The Central Coast-based artist's first new music of the year is anything but shouty. Beat Up Car, in all capital letters, is a warm and bright exploration of the sometimes complex relationship Ali has had with both herself and her music career. She said in an interview with Homebrewed, Beat Up Car is about therapy. It's about how much I hate talking about myself and how I'm too shy to mention that I'm a musician. However, it's also about how much my mum believes in me, especially through times when I necessarily don't believe in myself. Because of that, I love this tune, and it's a great piece of Aussie indie pop rock. Without further ado, tonight's pick for the local list is Ali George with Beat Up Car. We're in the midst of a segment right now called The Local List, brought to you by Homebrewed. We just heard from a fantastic Central Coast artist with a brand new release, Ali George, with her brand new single, Beat Up Car. And the reason why I'm yelling it is it's because it's in all capitals. If you'd like to hear more from Ali George and keep up to date with what she's up to in the world of music, you can find her on Instagram at AliIsGeorge. The song you just heard was by another fantastic Central Coast band, Sun Soli, with a track from their 2023 self-titled album. It's called Caught in a Moment. There you go, Brando. I amended my wrongs from last week. No Newcastle artists on the show tonight. You're welcome. Do you reckon you could give us, like, one thing you like about Newcastle before we move on?
There's an exit.
I had a feeling he was going to say that. I thought he was going to say something like, yes, my favourite thing about Newcastle is the start of the M1 and the train station that leaves Newcastle.
It's very nice of them that they have an exit for us to leave.
There you go. There's three things right there, Brando. The M1, the Hamilton station, and the Pacific Highway out of Newcastle. That's really sweet. On both sides, the exit possibilities are endless. And speaking of having endless possibilities, coming up we're going to be hearing from Steve and his good vibe of the night. But first, a song by the Wombats coming up after this that kind of shares a sentiment with a lot of us as introverts when it comes to parties. But after a quick word from our station sponsor. The Wombats right there with an introvert anthem on Coast FM 963 and Roaring More, Angus Hamill, Steve Wheatley, Brandon Macmillan with you. That was a brand new single by them from their album called Oh, the Ocean. It's called Sorry I'm Late. I Didn't Want to Come. Very relatable.
Is that why you're always late on Fridays?
Oh.
Is that why you're always late for our production field trips and interview days?
Oh, I've been outed live on air. Yeah, actually, that's my alarm that I wake up to every morning. I'm like, oh, do I have to go? Really? See these guys again?
The 5 more minutes.
That's it. And that's what I'm going to say. Every time I come in late, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say, sorry, I'm late. I didn't want to come and play that song off my phone. I got the perfect excuse now. Fantastic. Well, Steve, something that you did want to come with is this. Everyone loves it when Steve reveals
Steve's good vibe of the night.
Whoa, extra marks, Steve, for singing your own jingle right there.
I will work. Thank you. I will work to try and get better with the harmony of that.
No worries. Brando can do it the exact same next week, right, Brando?
Well, I can sing it, but I won't promise it'll be good.
I'll take that. A for effort. But yes, Steve, it's the good vibe of the night, the segment where you dive into your personal playlist and play a song that you think has fantastic vibes. What have you picked for us tonight, lover boy?
Yes, so funny you say that because I have actually chosen the song by the band Loverboy, Working from the Weekend, because as much as I look forward to this time of the week, every single week coming in on a Monday night and being able to play some great classic hits and getting to be around you lovely gents, I have chosen Working for the Weekend by Loverboy because even though as good as Monday is, tomorrow will become and we'll all be going well. I cannot wait for the weekend to come, and I think I'm definitely looking forward to this coming weekend myself because I have got the start of the 2025 goalball season starting up for the year. I have got also some other training, and also the rest of round 1 of the NRL is also kicking off.
Hell yeah, can't wait for that. Steve, you got a great week ahead of you. You're working for the weekend and you're also playing on the weekend, a bit of goalball. So without further ado, here is Steve's good vibe of the night, going back to the 80s with Loverboy and Working for the Weekend. Yeah, believe it or not, Brando actually wrote that one and sang every part of it as well.
No, not true. Not true.
Oh, stop being so modest.
No, not true.
Stop dispelling rumours right when I'm trying to start them on Coast FM 963. Roaring More, Angus Hamill, Steve Wheatley, Brandon Macmillan with you. We just heard Steve's good vibe of the night, which was, Steve?
That was Loverboy with their 1980s hit Working for the Weekend, which I'm sure everybody is working to get ready for the coming weekend. They're just trying to get through the week as best as they can.
That's the way everyone is, and Saturday sounds like it's going to be a good day for you, Steve, with goalball. And you heading to Brookie on Saturday night?
Unfortunately, I won't be there for the opening round, but I hope to be there for the next game. I don't know who we're playing, but I'm hoping to get to a few games this year. So, and even probably seeing you at a few of those games, mate.
That's it, plenty to choose from, and hey, it's not a bad one to miss because the weather is looking awful. So it's going to get pretty muddy at Brookie.
Could be good to maybe be watching it at home.
I think so, with a hot beverage or a beer, maybe.
Exactly.
Brando, what have you got on for the rest of the week?
Look, I know I did this big little travel on Saturday, but don't think that I've changed, all right? I'm just going to stay right here on the coast. I only did that because it's been 11 years since the last time I've been there, so my next big travel will probably be another 11 years, all right?
Damn. So
stay tuned to find out where that one is going to be, listeners.
So there you go. You can narrow it down. If you want to find Brandon Macmillan, you can find him pretty much nowhere except the Central Coast. Where's the farthest on the coast you would go, Brando, if you had to?
Literally here.
Coast FM.
Literally here, yeah, Coast FM. I think the furthest I've been, that doesn't count here was like when we went to Avoca Beach to see Steve's band play. Oh, Steve's dad's band, sorry.
Oh, wow, there you go. That's a big trip for you.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to head back down to MacArthur because I heard there's an opening for a professional arcade gamer.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I know a professional.
Oh, that's you, of course. You were the winner over the weekend. We saw your prizes that you won. So maybe you're banned because you won too much. Who knows?
we can't let this guy come back. He's going to take all of our prizes and we won't have any more to sell.
That's it, him and Jackson. Well, speaking of keeping it local, coming up we're going to be hearing a very special edition of my saxophone solo of the week. Not only is it a new release, but it's also a new release by a Central Coast artist, which is just really cool stuff. It's a very strong early contender for my sax solo of the year. It's coming up right after this. Double play right there of a band that are playing in Sydney as we speak. Brando's mum's at the concert. I hope you're having a wonderful time. It's Coast FM 963, Roar and More. Coming up after the 9 o'clock news, we got Will making his proper official Youth Night debut. He's joining us in the studio right now. Will, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, this is new. So coming up on my show, I'll be diving into a genre. I'll be playing some unknown artists you might not know, and I'll also play a little bit of classic hits as well. I've got bands lined up such as Perfect, Daryl Johns, and starting off with a band called In the Endless Zong Yang We Are. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Fantastic. Well, that fits in perfectly on Youth Night. I hope you have a fantastic shift, man. I know that we have Steve Wheatley, Brandon McMillan. Thanks so much for joining me once again on Roar and Roar, boys, and I dare say I'll see you same time next week.